Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's still in the description below. It is still my email. Your purchase and pricing email question line for this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a lovely Vacheron Constantin Overseas Chronograph with the titanium bezel and the stainless steel case. This model, which was launched in 2009, is often described as the Deep Stream by Vacheron collectors. 42 millimeters in diameter, the watch is 12.5 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip. It is 50.2 millimeters, and on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, it wears quite nicely. Now, the watch has a tonneau case shape, but you can see in profile that the lugs angle downward, so the fit's quite agreeable, and on this super flexible custom strap, it wears well, to the point where I could say a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference could wear this quite comfortably on this strap. The strap is flexible, the case arcs around the wrist, and it's even flat enough with a sloped bezel that it could slide underneath a dress cuff. So here's your over the top, here's your down the barrel roll, and one more time, look at the cuff shot. All right, so this strap is custom. You can see vulcanized rubber, striations on the bottom to evacuate it, allow the wrist to breathe, and make the material more supple and flexible. A very cool chevron pattern molded into it externally. Attention to detail is good. As you can see, the polished bevel of the case band is extended into the flank of the strap. Because this is an overseas, straps and bracelets both are fixed to the case using screws and bars, which give more security than a spring bar arrangement. You could see that the same is true of the clasp, which is attached to the strap using a screw and bar. And Vacheron, in the second generation overseas, took no chances. Instead of a conventional pin in the buckle, there's actually a mounting screw that fixes the strap inside the buckle so it can't pull through by accident. The clasp features internal media blasting and polish with a little Maltese cross motif right in here, and of course that's the symbol of the manufacturer. You'll find it externally as well. There are two triggers that must be pressed both at the same time to pop the clasp open so security is assured. In profile, you can see that the shoulders for the chronograph pushers are made of titanium, and so is the bezel itself. It's a media blasted bezel. The shade is quite dark, almost anthracite, a good deal darker than the steel of the case for a nice handsome contrast. That coloration carried over to the dial, as well as the blackened hands and gold indices on the dial itself. The case is polished in profile. It's satinated on the case top and the lug hoods, and then you have that transverse bevel that runs from end to end. I guess you'd probably call that a longitudinal bezel right there. Longitudinal bevel going over a little crown plinth structure. It's not quite a crown guard underneath the crown, which also features the Maltese cross. This knurling makes it easy to grip. All three crowns are screw downs, so if you want to operate your chronograph, you're going to have to screw them out. But the watch does gain 150 meter water resistance, which is quite impressive in this class, considering the Aquanauts 120 and the standard Royal Oak, including the Royal Oak Chrono, is only about 50. So this gives you surpassing resistance. It's also, thanks to a soft iron cage around the movement, resistant to up to 25,000 ampere per meter of magnetic flux density, which is quite a bit more than the ISO 764, which is 4,800. So this is 25,000. Now the dial includes a big I style minutes register for the chronograph. You can see it's an instantaneous jumping minute hand. The big I, or the big register for the chronograph minutes, acknowledges that this is often a lot more important and requires closer reading than the chronograph hours. Each one of the sub-registers is sunken with a polished chaptering. We have a Reho outboard that features the seconds, minutes, and fractions of seconds for the chronograph for easy reading. The watch does not have a hacking seconds function, though it does have a quick set for its double-digit date. We'll do a quick loom shot where you can see this watch has absolutely no shortage, and then the dial has that same lovely anthracite color that you saw on the bezel. It sets beautifully with great precision and very little dead angle. Now the chronograph is column wheel with a vertical clutch. Column wheel for nice crisp action and feel, and vertical clutch, so when you start the chrono, it starts without stagger, without jump, and vertical clutch chronos always reset perfectly When tuned correctly, they set to the index up at 60. The smoothness of the engagement is positive as it improves the general precision of the instrument, but because the vertical clutch has no meshing teeth, it's also seamless, thus there is no additional wear, tear, or hazard to your watch if you wish to simply leave the chronograph running. And as promised, you can see the quick set for the double-digit date. Now, there's not a whole lot to see around the case back. The movement is a Vacheron 1137, which is their name for Frederic Piguet 1185. That's a high horology automatic, also used for most of the existence of the Royal Oak chronograph, and it comes from manufacturer Blancpain. It is a unidirectional winder with a 40-hour power reserve, 37 joules, a 3 Hz beat rate, vertical clutch, column wheel, quick set action, 5-position adjustment, which is the high horology and chronometer standard, and then it is a very thin, fully integrated automatic chronograph at only 5.55 millimeters thick and nicely hand decorated. Though you can't see it, it is quite pleasing and it's befitting the image and the heritage of Vacheron. You can see the case back with the image of the Italian naval training vessel Amerigo Vespucci, considered to be the most beautiful square-rigged ship in the world. You can see we have circular satination, we have radial satination, we have a sort of frosted or hammered pattern underneath the ship, and then polishing on the ship and the waves. If you love this watch, email me. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.